It's very fascinating, the relationship between what some people consider face value horror, like fangs and teeth and things that look like dark skeletons and all this stuff, ghosts. But then there's the actual palpable, tangible horrors of humankind that, to me, is way more of a danger, way more of an immediate terror than any sort of ghoul, goblin, or zombie. And so through horror, I've seen it as a vehicle to help me understand myself since I was a child. The worst monsters aren't the Wolfman and a vampire and evil puppet and all this stuff. Like, those aren't the worst things that can hurt you. What hurt me more was the incessant cruelty of somebody with a bad heart, or people with no regard for human value or emotion, or things that lack compassion, especially when you're a child and you're still trying to figure out the world, trying to make sense of it all. And that's certainly how I felt when I was a kid. I mean, I was instantly attracted to books like Goosebumps. You know, I grew up on Are You Afraid of the Dark and movies like Creepshow and Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt, and all these things influenced and shaped kind of a comfort in me, because when I would draw scary things or when I would face my own fears since I was a child, it becomes like the subconscious surreal thing that they're dealing with. Because if you pay attention to the actual monsters in these storylines, it's usually people who are like the ultra greedy, or people who, you know, parents that don't listen to their children when they sense there's a threat. Like, that's a common thread in Goosebumps, and the kids have to figure out how to deal with it and move through it and face the fear so they can deal with this monster. And because it's a story, a monster can be a metaphor for that anxiety, for that feeling of, you know, being out of control and just trying to figure out this crazy, crazy world that we live in. And, you know, things like Creepshow and Tales from the Crypt, the innocent are only hurt whenever it's at the hands of the actual monster, the human being. And yet there's something so cathartic and satisfying when you see that corruption gets taken down by something that is, you know, 10 times scarier than what they thought they were. And there's something very primal and real about that kind of catharsis, that kind of release. As a person living with schizophrenia that deals with the subconscious a lot through hallucinations and stuff like that, I tend to trust people more when they're just dead honest with me. To me, uncanny isn't like, oh, there's a marionette and it's dangling in a streetlight and it's all creepy and its mouth is open and it's staring with an empty gaze. I don't find that uncanny because I relate to the marionette. What I find uncanny is more like camp counselor that's too happy that it's almost suspicious. You know, big smile. Hey, how are ya? You know, things like that are scary to me. To me, it's all reflection. Every piece of media that you watch, horror, comedy, anything, it's all reflection. And that's very valuable for growth. And I don't really trust people who, when they see something that is surface level uncomfortable or scary, their reaction is to dismiss it or to see it as evil. I think they're running from something. Perhaps they see themselves in the ghoul that is portrayed. So yeah.